How do we make a call to any function anywhere from our embedded unit? Well, it's easy to make a call to another function on the same unit, but what about when it's on a different unit? Or a different country? We could use the World Wide Web and make simultaneous calls to different units all over the world, all from our embedded unit. The data collected from the units is done in parallel because they're all on separate processors. So we don't have to work too hard on our unit. We just need to send the requests out onto the web and then wait for the results to come back, collate them all and do whatever we want with them. So we have a parallel processing system. So here's Bob. He lives in Australia, so let's call him Australian Bob. Now he's got a micro and a temperature sensor, and he's written a function to get the temperature from his sensor. And he's decided to make a little board up and nail it to a tree in his backyard to monitor the temperature. So here we are in the UK, and we want to get hold of the temperature in Bob's backyard. So we need to make a call from our embedded unit to Bob's function on his unit. Now we don't know what type of micro Bob's got. We don't know what programming language is used. We don't know whether he's using an operating system or what his network architecture is, or even the comms link directly to his micro. In fact, we don't even know what part of Australia Bob lives in. So making that function call looks a little difficult. In fact, making that function call is quite easy if two things are in place. The first, that Bob likes his function so much he's published it on the internet as a web service for anyone to call. And the second, that we have a function to call from our unit that'll call a web service. The eUI supplies the latter. So what is a web service? It's just one or more functions on the web. You can run them from a browser or from a code mechanism. So let's have a look at one and run one. This is a good site, free and public web services. So let's run a snow report. This has a mechanism to run it through the browser, so we can do that. Click the send and that will actually run the web service. This is the result. So we can see what the snow report is for that particular place. There you go, easy. Web services have a standard interface in the form of a WSDL file, a WSDL file. This is a text-readable document, an XML document that gives you the interface for that web service. It contains all of the operations. The operations are the individual functions for that web service, and the inputs and outputs for each operation. All that you need to know in order to run any web service is the URL of the WSDL file, the operation name, and any inputs that the operation has. Let's have a look at another web service, a calc service. This seems a little bit odd. It just has operations to add integers and stuff like that. Stuff that we can do already on our embedded unit. But maybe there are some difficult algorithms that we want to run on our embedded unit where it's not practical to do so. We could have a web service to perform the algorithms for us. And instead of a little 8-bit micro on the other end running the web service, we could have a supercomputer. Well, we know about assets and capabilities being functions. What about web services and operations? They look similar, don't they? Are they the same? Well, they're exactly the same. A web service is an asset and an operation is a capability. So let's have a look at Bob's website. Here it is, and he's kindly put a read temperature link that we'll call his web service. And there's the temperature returned from the function call. Every time we do a refresh, we're making a real-time call to Bob's function on his unit, nailed to a tree in Australia. So we're halfway there. All we need now is to make that call from our code and not the browser. So how do we put our functions on the web? Well, this is incredibly easy because eUI does it all for you. It publishes your assets and capabilities as web services and operations on the web. All you have to do is change one flag in the configuration. eUI also has the functions necessary to run web services, your own web service or any external web services already on the net. The next video demonstrates worldwide unit-to-unit comms and gives a taste of mashups.